Hi, are you stressed? Are you anxious? It's because we have a new moon in Virgo that we are under. So if you're feeling those things, take a deep breath and I promise that it's going to get easier. Happy new moon, almost in the sign of Virgo. I have a candle here for us. I have black salt for grounding and protection in the base, as well as cinnamon and cayenne pepper for abundance and prosperity to come quickly. That is for everybody watching, so thank you so much. If you want to take a second, release all the air that is in your lungs with me. And take the deepest breath you've taken all day. Sip at the top and release. All right, happy new moon in Virgo. Depending on when you watch this, we're gonna go ahead and it makes sense even, of course, like we're out in the elements right now. I'm in the yard. So naturally we're gonna have breeze, but right now, just so that we can note, because when I light candles, I like to observe them and note what it's doing. And we have a double wick going on because the wick has broken in two, and the fire is connecting these two mini flames into one big flame. To me, that's representing this lunation because we have two new moons in the same sign coming up. The first one, of course, is the new moon that we are under right now, if you're watching as I am posting this. And the next one will be next month. So let me open this so that we can get started and have a visual representation. All right. So this new moon is happening on August 23rd. But if you saw my last video, I did mention that we have on September 21st another new moon in the sign of Virgo. So this doesn't always happen. It's connected oftentimes with the concept of a blue moon, but blue moons are really the full moon happening in the same sign within the same calendar month. So this is similar in the sense that we get two new moons happening in the same sign, with this next one being an eclipse. We'll talk about that next time, but think really intense, rapid change. So, right now, we're going to focus on the new moon that we are under, which is on the 23rd of August, happening on Saturday. This is going to be happening if you were on the East Coast at 2:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or if you are on the West Coast with me, it's at 11:06 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is happening in the very, very, very early stages, only 23 minutes into the sign of Virgo. So, with being so close to the beginning of Virgo, that is why we really get the opportunity to see a second new moon in the same sign. Um, I also want to note this lunation is a complex moon. It is forming, and I know we're still in the new stages if you're watching me with what I'm teaching, but if you're more practiced in astrology, you might recognize some of these terms. Um, it is squaring Uranus, right? Yes, Uranus as we are moving forward. So Uranus is in the sign of Gemini. So we're receiving this square, which means point of tension under this new moon. So that is why I wanted to start this with saying, hi, are you stressed? Are you anxious? It's because we have a new moon in Virgo that we are under. So if you're feeling those things, take a deep breath and I promise that it's going to get easier. So let's start with this first question. We've taken a breath together. Now let's go ahead and think about where that chaotic tension is taking place. Because if you're feeling stress or anxiety, it is usually because you're being asked to release something or you're putting up resistance. And so the universe is trying to shake you awake. If that makes sense? Hopefully it does. So this very first question, if you're starting your practice when I am posting this, which is between Wednesday and Thursday, my time. So just as the window is opening. If this is your first video with us, exaltation is happening on Saturday, the 23rd. It means that it is the peak energy of the new moon. But we really do feel it 3 days before and 3 days after. So we are first feeling this new moon energy today, Wednesday on the 20th. If you're watching this, it's probably already passed the window of it opening. So that energy is going to continue building until Saturday, and then it will softly wane away by the 26th. What happens when we have a square is there's tension specifically around limitations and like change and restructuring as well. And I say that because we are experiencing Uranus in Gemini, which usually coincides for Americans with war. And we are experiencing what I can only call a class war, a societal war right now. And it's in the early stages. Uranus just went into Gemini this summer, and it's a long transit ahead. So, as we're sitting in the current energy today, go ahead and think about this question. If you're new here, take out a piece of paper. It's helpful to write these down. So, chaotic tension, where in your life do you currently feel pinched for energy, overwhelmed, or anxious? Go ahead and take a few minutes to jot down your thoughts here. Where in your life do you currently feel pinched for energy, overwhelmed, or anxious? If you need more time with this prompt, you can go ahead and pause here. Otherwise, move forward with us. I'm quickly going to go over because we're still learning about the different phases of the moon, but we've been going over this for a while. So, of course, we have the full moon. This is a time of illumination. Usually, things are brought to our awareness. We're being asked to shed something or release something, especially this year. If you have not been listening to the guidance of the universe that has asked you to release things, if you are holding resistance, the eclipse season is going to be rough for you. And that is me being completely honest. So, if in this moment, as we approach the next full moon, you realize that there is something that you're holding really tightly onto and you're being asked to shed or release it, it is time to release it. We are in a year of 9, which is about transformation and shedding. So, if you do not shed, you cannot transform. Think of like how a snake, if it does not shed all of its skin, it will die. So, of course, you may not die, hopefully not, and probably not. However, you will probably experience a death of some sort. In the tarot deck, we see the death card, which doesn't always mean death in the physical sense. It can mean death in a certain area of your life. Maybe you're holding on to relationships that don't serve you, or friendships, or a job that is a dead end job that's not going to move anywhere. Maybe you have a situation where you're holding on to a pattern of behavior because it's comfortable instead of changing and evolving and transforming. During the eclipse season, it's like the universe or the moon really, with help from the sun, gives us major spankings. So if you don't want the experience of that, it's a really good idea to release so you can experience the transcendence that can happen under the eclipse. Well, we just went through the half moon. That's usually about cyclical change. So this is important for what we're talking about today. But under the last full moon, I released financial stress. So during my half moon phase, I have been repeatedly tested by the universe to see, like, are you releasing financial stress, or are you holding on to that emotion because you're used to it, right? And oftentimes when you're used to something, you think it's helping you when it's not. Now we are approaching, as we are in this energy right now, we are in the new moon phase, which is great for setting intentions. It's opportunities for growth and transformation, especially baby steps. This moon is really potent energy for taking baby steps. So, this is where we are right now in this phase of the moon. So we're going to be planting an intention setting. As we move away from this new moon, so as that energy is fading, I really am urging you to nurture those intentions that you're setting. So for the next 6 months, really, we are going to really work on grounding ourselves back to this intention that we're setting as we move forward. So as you have seen, if you've been watching the videos in the past, the moon comes to brilliance and we see that full moon and then it wanes until we get that new moon again, the dark moon, and then that new moon, that brand new sliver, which usually symbolizes brand new beginnings. You haven't seen this slide fully yet, and we'll talk about this even more in the next new moon in Virgo video. But of course, you move constantly between all these phases. And so I would really love to, in the next video, really look at each one of the phases and help us better understand what to do under each part of the lunation. And we get this really beautiful opportunity because we do have the same new moon happening twice. So we get to kind of build on the intentions that we're going to create together right here, right now. So as I mentioned, the dark moon, that's probably where we are actually right now is darkness. We might not be able to see the moon in the sky right now. So it's really good for banishing, releasing those things that might just be the last little debris, uh, cleansing and preparing for the new beginning. I am going to save this candle for our next new moon. So if you see it went perfectly out halfway, we're going to save that for the other half. If you notice, when I said darkness, I think this candle was ready to go out. So we're reflecting in darkness and setting the intentions under this new moon in Virgo. Again, it is squaring Uranus. So we'll take a look at that in reflection as we head into the next new moon in Virgo. But let's just sit in this energy today. Okay, so usually we play with some different meditation techniques, and today is going to be self-guided. Um, Virgo loves to be outdoors, loves to be refueled by Mother Nature and spending time in the elements. So for today's exercise, we are in 23 minutes of Virgo. So I want you to spend 23 minutes barefoot in nature. Some of you, that might be really easy, something you do all the time. You're probably a Virgo or an earth sign. And if that is not something you often do, um, now is the time. You can choose whatever element feels at home to you. You might live near a body of water, you might live near a stream or a river, and you might want to listen to the water and be still. You may want to feel dirt or grass under your feet or even mud. Listen to what feels right to you. And of course, you may want to be moving or to sit stationary. You will set a timer for 23 minutes and then commune with Mother Earth in whatever way feels the most grounding to you. I have some questions for you to take into that meditation, so you'll want to write them down and answer them. I have already done this. I just went, so I'm going to insert that footage here in a second, but here are the questions. How can I allow for balance in my life amidst the chaos? And this is your point of balance question. How can I allow for balance in my life amidst the chaos? So even despite there being chaos, how can I allow for balance? Not force, right? Not urge, but allow balance. And of course, as I'm saying that, we hear sirens. Thank you, universe, for the synchronicity. If you need the slide longer, you can pause. Otherwise, come with us to the next one. The next question is, what do I desire to harvest in 6 months' time? What do I desire to harvest or grow, right? What do I want to grow over the next 6 months? And then as it bears fruit, to collect and eat of that fruit. What do I desire to harvest in 6 months' time? If you need this slide longer, you can pause. Otherwise, sorry for the typo on the next page. This should be prompt 4. And it's really similar to that very first prompt. But what area of my life feels the most chaotic? And in true Virgo nature, I'm going to make you pause as I go back and fix that. What area of my life feels the most chaotic? And as you see, this is part 2 of the chaotic tension. So in case there's more than one aspect of your life where you're feeling anxious and chaotic, this will help you get the full scope of what is the chaotic tension that is at the roots here. Oh, sorry. If you need this longer, please pause. Otherwise, go outside. Go touch some grass literally with your feet or water, some element of nature, please. You'll see in a moment, I spent time with air while I was in Mother Nature, and I'll show you that now. I'll see you in a moment. All right, so I'm gonna go do my self-guided meditation of grounding with Mother Earth. And I am practicing rolling blunts. And so I have Santa Maria rolled in a beautiful leaf of tobacco, and I made a mini blunt. So what I'm about to go do is we are gonna go meditate with Mother Earth. So I'm gonna go ground. I'm really lucky. I live in San Diego, so I have lots of options of where I can go. I could go to the beach because I'm pretty close to the beach. I can walk there, or I live right by a park and they have swings, and something that always grounds me is swinging on a swing set. So I'm gonna go finish this blunt on my way over to the park. I'm almost there. You just can't walk in the park and smoke, so I smoke on the urban walk to the park. All right, we made it to the park, and the last little bit of my blunt, whatever was at the very end, what I did is I put it in an airtight container, and what I'll do is I'll put that into the burn bag as well. If you saw the previous video where I talked about burn bags, what I do is I take a bunch of stuff that I've collected that is burnable, and I put it into a bag, and it helps to start the fire in the very beginning of the full moon release, which will be on September 7th and at sunset, which is coming. It's on a Sunday, September 7th. So now we're at the park. Let's do our self-guided meditation. So the swing set is over there. And now it's time to get grounded. So don't forget to take off your shoes. If you can, if you're in a rocky place, obviously it's gonna be difficult, but you really should take off your shoes. You have energy centers in your feet that are able to collect energy from Mother Earth. So please take off your shoes and ground and earth with me, whether you are stationary or whether you are going to be moving. And for me, swinging is something that I just love. It helps ground me. Swinging was always something I did as a child, especially when I was not feeling safe. And I'm just realizing this as I chose this activity to do for myself, for my guided meditation. I used to experience a lot of fighting in my childhood home, and whenever I didn't feel safe, I was lucky enough as a preteen that we finally had like a really old, slightly dangerous swing set in our backyard when I lived in Maine. And here's a quick story that I just feel like I need to share in this moment. I remember the last day that I went to a actual like organized religious church, and the day that I left, it was because I was told that I was not allowed to lead the Bible study, and I had raised my hand to substitute. I was studying teaching at the time, and I was tutoring at my college, and so I volunteered to host the Bible study while the leaders were on a conference, and they both saw me raise my hand, and one of them, I'll never forget him, his name was Al. He stopped everything and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I, Megan, and Ashley, another girl in the Bible study, are not allowed to teach. They're not allowed to host while we're gone." And I was livid. I was so mad. So I asked him, I was like, I raised my hand and I was like, "Oh, can you tell me why we're not allowed?" And he was like, "Because the Bible says that women are not supposed to be in authority over men. And there are men in the Bible study." And I was like, even though it's just like reading a question in a book and just facilitating discussion. And he was like, "Yeah, unfortunately, God says you can't do that." And that was the last day I went to church. So I'm going to go set my timer for 23 minutes, swing, and collect some feelings. Here we go. As I was saying, it was the last day I went to church, and after everything happened, I was making that decision, and I swang. I was swinging on the swing set in my backyard because it didn't make me feel safe, right? Like a place that I thought was a place of faith and love and community, and treating others how you want to be treated. And I ended up feeling really disempowered, and I made a decision on a swing set that I would never go back again. So I just spent my 23 minutes on the swings. It was so nice. During it, I got to interact with other people even, which is so much like meditation, right? Like a lot of the people probably watching might not have a moment to be by themselves, right? Like you might have a child, or you might be working so much that you don't have the same accessibility to alone time. And one of my favorite things is connection. I think it's the best part about being a human being, is getting the opportunity to connect with so many people in your lifetime. So I feel like I answered my questions. I was just thoughtful about them. I answered as many as I could before I started my time, because some of them I know. And then as I sat on the swings, I thought about the ones that I just wanted clarity on. So I hope this exercise was helpful for you. And let's move on with the reflection today. Okay, we're back. Hopefully that was helpful and you spent some time in Mother Nature. And you're coming back now, and we're going to talk about Virgo and the themes that relate to Virgo. So in this section, this is really good to just note a few themes that are really calling out to you right now. So earthly connection and harvest, practicality, being detail-oriented, organization and order, meticulous, duality. So I want to spend time really talking about this. Duality here, we see Virgo. Virgo is known as the virgin and the vixen, or the maiden and the vixen. And so you may find if you are a Virgo or if you have Virgo in your chart, you'll probably notice that you have some duality. Virgo to me is really similar in energy to Gemini. And before anybody says anything, Virgo is the grounded version of the chaos Gemini, right? To me, they kind of balance each other out in a really nice way. They both deal with the sense of duality, but in different ways. So duality is within individual, and Gemini to me is more external. It's represented by the twins, right? Being a duality, but also being separate, right? Whereas Virgo in duality is within the same. So it's two pieces of the same element, right? So you may be really orderly in one area of your life and have a lot of chaos in another. Or in my case, we'll talk about this in a moment because Virgo is my rising sign. Literally maiden and vixen. I love the idea of purity, having a pure heart. Um, but I also love my shadow side, right? And I love to deal with both. I'm a really spiritual person. I'm a healer, but I focus my healing on the sacral chakra, which is connected to that vixen energy. So you may have some duality in your life. Virgo also loves health and wellness. They love to like feel well and be in their wellness energy. Loyalty, reliability. They're very analytical. They love to be of service, whether that's to others or to a community. Editing and writing are things that are really important or they do really well in. And then I also want to talk about this perfectionism and anxiety. Because Virgo loves practicality and is so detail oriented and loves order and loves organization, they have a tendency to also be perfectionists or to experience anxiety when they cannot control or bring order to something. As I mentioned as well, purity, hardworking, systematic structures, problem solving, and of course, communication. Virgo does love to communicate. Now we're going to focus on the decan that we're in. So we'll see later, we'll be in the 15 degrees, I believe, for the next Virgo new moon. I could be wrong, but that will take us into the second decan. So this is in the very raw energy. So if you've been here a while, you know that that first decan is the most raw, youthful version of that sign, right? So in Virgo, the first decan is ruled by Mercury. So things that have to do with communication, transportation, travel can sometimes show up here. But because Virgo is already connected to communication, that element is really being brought home here. Intelligence, they love to like be in their intelligent thinking energy. Versatility, being able to do more than one thing. They're inventive, they are malleable, so they can be flexible, trustworthy, generous, practicality, meticulous, method driven, discipline, order, perfectionism, experimentation, analytical, and the balance between order and chaos. And I want to talk about Spica. This is one of the stars, it's the brightest star in the constellation of Virgo. And it's actually a binary star. What that means, to bring this back to duality and the sense of balance, right? Because with Virgo, it's mostly about balance. Virgo loves to be balanced, which is why duality is so important. So binary stars. Think of it like there's two stars and they're orbiting each other. That is the brightest star in Virgo. So it's two stars that are orbiting each other. Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful to me. And to me, that really represents that duality in Virgo. Spica is one star element, but it's a binary star, right? So it's a one piece, but there are two facets that make it what it is. I hope that that explanation was helpful. that's why I think as we move into the next new moon lunation, I think we're going to really focus on duality. So we are focusing on balance right now so that we can get further into duality or deeper into duality. And of course, if you want this longer, pause here. Otherwise, let's move forward. But please make sure you're writing down something here from the themes and the decan that you can take into the intention setting. Let's zoom in. So if you've been watching, you know this is my natal chart that's over here. We are going to be looking at this sign right here, if you can see it. So that's the sign for Virgo, which is right here on my chart. So you'll see that it bridges the first house and the second house, and that is because it is my rising sign. Really quickly, just to talk about your sun, moon, and rising. Those are when people say your big three, those are what people are talking about. Where was the sun? Where was the moon? What is your ascendant? So what rising sign is your first house in? So mine, that's why it bridges the first and the 12th house, is it's literally a duality between the death and the self, the rebirth. So, if you notice, I don't have any placements in Virgo. It is my rising sign. So your sun is like the core of you. We went over that last time with the full moon in Aquarius. So that is the core of who I am. Think outsider humanitarian. Those drive the core of who I am. Your moon sign is you that people get to know over time, or the you that you show to people if you're somebody who is an Aquarius who's very transparent, or somebody who feels very safe in the situation you're in. So if you feel safe, you let yourself fully be who you are, and your moon is that sign. We went over that as well when we did the new moon in Leo. That is my moon sign. So, for example, I feel safe in strip clubs, which is where that's how I make my money. So because I feel safe there, I get to express my moon sign, right? Which is Leo, which is like very warm-hearted, very loving, very into being in the spotlight, right? Now, your ascendant or your rising sign, that is the you that people first get to encounter. So, I think maybe that's where some of my intensity comes from, is literally all three of those mixed with Virgo, because Virgo is so analytical. Um, I often get told by men that I'm very intimidating when they first meet me because of having an ascendant in Virgo. I tend to come off as analytical, very serious, very work oriented, very seeking to be of service to others around me. I think that's also where a lot of my people pleasing comes in. Um, yeah, so wherever you are, you want to take a look at your natal chart. This is if you want to see what is really popping up in what area of life you're having. So mine is going to be, well, I'll show you in a moment, in the first and the 12th house. In order to get your natal chart, you're going to need your birth date, your birthplace, and your birth time. You can get a full chart with just your date and place, but without the time, you won't actually get the houses accurate, which are those little numbers in the pie crust here. Okay. You can still do all of this reflection without this information. This just helps you be as precise as possible, kind of like checking your answers. But I have a friend, for example, that was there's no birth certificate for him, so he literally doesn't know his star chart, and that's okay. You can literally intuit most of this stuff. This is just meant to help guide you and protect your heart as you are doing this kind of reflection. Let's go ahead and move into this. So, first house, this is self, identity, and new beginnings. And I'm really feeling self and identity and new beginnings, but like Yeah, actually, new beginnings is really coming up. So if you need your first through six houses, if this is the area where Virgo is on your chart, you may want to pause this slide if you need more time. Otherwise, here are the houses for the seventh house to the 12th house. And to me, spirituality, I'm in the 12th house. And letting go are big ones. And the subconscious, of course. So I'm going to go back to my natal chart for a moment to show you something. So we are moving this way. So we just left Leo and we're moving into Virgo. So if we had a more detailed chart, we could see the actual decans right here. But let's say like this is about half, right? So the first decan is probably right here. So I'm really hitting right here in my chart. Oops. I'm really hitting right here in my chart, right? It's like 23 minutes. So it's just starting into Virgo. I'm really going to experience my self identity, really that first oh, I'm sorry. I'm really visiting my 12th house, which is about letting go and spirituality. As we move into the next new moon, right? We're going to be in that second decan. So I'm going to be going through that like little rebirth space where I've done the letting go. I'm listening to my subconscious. I'm focused on spirituality so that the new beginning can come in because I have restructured myself and identity, right? I have reflected, I've picked out the pieces that are debris or the dead skin and I've let it go. Does that make sense how we're moving through this? I hope it does. So that helps really demonstrate how two new moons together can really help you do the deep reflective inner work of really excavating and helping yourself have that fresh new start. So wherever Virgo is in your chart, you may see a kind of story for you, right? If it's, for example, between your fourth and fifth house, you may be in a phase where you have done the work of figuring out what you want in your life for your home or your family. And now maybe you are focused on having children, right? Or maybe you've figured out that maybe your home space isn't safe and you needed to move from that so that you can express yourself creatively. So, whatever your story is under this new moon, that's what your natal chart really helps you do is to really take the microscope into your life and really look at it. So if you need this slide longer, go ahead and stay on this. Otherwise, this is where we have all of the puzzle pieces on in front of us. So hopefully you have answered all of the questions. You have your themes that relate to Virgo and specifically to you. Hopefully, as we get to this point, you've answered all of the questions and you have all of the puzzle pieces in front of you. So now we're going to actually put them into the intention format. If you need this time in this space to really go over these and make sure you have them all written out, please go ahead and pause here. Otherwise, we're going to move over right here. So sorry, these ones were slightly different colors. I decided to make them like a brownish color for Virgo and a silver color because it relates to the colors that relate to Virgo and especially the decan. So there is a point to the colors, I do promise. So that harvest desire is going to go in the first one. So right now, take a minute to write down your answer, your intention. But your harvest desire is going to go in this first space. Point of balance answer is going to go here. Your chaotic tension, really look at that two-part question, the two-part answer that you wrote. And right here, go ahead and give us your response. The Virgo house, however it is that you came upon writing this one down, and the Virgo decan. So I'm going to go ahead and write mine, and I will come back to you in a moment with my intention. All right, I have finished my reflection to intention. So now I'm going to read that for you. So, if you need more time to finish yours without influence from me, please go ahead and pause this and finish. Otherwise, this is what I came up with. Under this new moon, I understand the need to create space in my garden to grow free financial flow in my life. I am prompted to allow order to unfold through spending time in slowness and seeking a counterbalance as I experience chaos in the areas of financial stress, lack of support, and past money-related wounds. I understand that I am being prompted to reground with Mother Earth as I grow and water this intention through revisiting the areas of trusting and communicating with the universe so I may restructure my identity when I feel out of balance. That feels like so grounded to me. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I will see you guys next month. If you need this longer, go ahead and pause. Otherwise, I'm going to see you soon. I'll see you again for a moon video, another lunation video on September 7th. Or, I'm sorry, I'm not correct. You'll get the video before, but exactation is September 7th. So around that time, you'll see another video that relates to the full moon and releasing, where we will most likely be revisiting some of the work we've done. So make sure that you keep whatever it is that you wrote today. And if you are coming here after seeing part of the video I'm talking about right now, um, hold this and bring it to the next couple of moon videos because they really are going to build on each other. This is the part where we get to really build on what we're doing. So, and it has to happen now because the new moon in Virgo is the best time for us to really get serious about the health and wellness within. So, I'm going to leave it at that. We have a full moon coming up soon, but right now, let's really sit in that new moon energy. It's so nice. It's really great for grounding. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and I will see you soon. I love you. You're wonderfully made and incredible, and the cream of the crop, and you deserve everything that is good that you want coming to you. I love you. Bye.